Welcome to the video tutorial on how to configure PageGate to use serial-based tap. In this tutorial, we'll be going over how to configure PageGate to use a serial line to deliver messages to a directly connected tap terminal. Before we begin, virtual machines are becoming more and more ubiquitous. Unfortunately, virtual machines can't typically interact with physical hardware like serial lines. There are, however, serial and COM port virtualizers that can provide virtual machines access to physical hardware. If you're using PageGate in a virtual environment, it's still entirely possible to use a serial line to communicate with a tap terminal. To communicate with a directly connected tap terminal, there are two pieces of information you'll need. First, you'll need to know the COM port that the serial cable is plugged into. And second, you'll need to know the communication parameters like baud rate, parity, data bits, and stop bits. Once you have that information, here's how to configure it in PageGate. First, open the PageGate admin. Next, expand the Connectors section. Each connector in the program can be configured to use a serial port. If you're using multiple connectors, you can select any of your available connectors to tie the serial port to. Also, if you're using multiple connectors, you can use multiple serial outputs to multiple terminals, or multiple outputs to the same terminal. Expand the connector you want to tie the serial port to, and go to the Settings subsection. Once here, set the serial port field here at the bottom to match the port that the cable is plugged into, and you do want to check Direct Connect, as this is a direct serial connection, not a modem connection. When finished, click on Apply. Now that we've told PageGate where to find the serial line, we can add the carrier that tells it how to talk to the terminal. To do that, right-click on the Carriers section and select Add. Give the carrier a name. Set the protocol to TAP. Since this is a directly connected tap terminal, leave the phone number field blank. Set the baud rate, parity, data bits, and stop bits to match the receiving tap terminal's requirements. In the init string field, enter the word direct in all lowercase letters. The max characters field determines the maximum number of characters that can be sent in a single message. Typically speaking, when communicating to an on-site tap terminal, you'll set this to 240. When finished, click Apply. Now all that remains is adding a recipient to use the carrier. To do that, right-click on the Recipients section and select Add. Give the recipient a name. Set the carrier to your serial-based tap carrier. In the ID/PIN field, enter the pager number. You'll notice that there's a second max characters field here in the recipient. The carrier max characters value determines the maximum number of characters that can be delivered in a single message, and the recipient max characters value determines the number of characters you want to send to this person. If the recipient value is higher than the carrier value, the program will break up long messages into multiple messages based on the carrier's value. For example, let's say that we're sending pages, and that your carrier max characters value is 240. Let's then also say that we set the recipient value to 480. If we send a 300 character message, PageGate will break that up into one 240 character message and one 60 character message. If we send a 500 character message, everything after the 480th character will be lost. When finished, click Apply. This concludes the video tutorial on how to configure PageGate to deliver messages to a directly connected tap terminal. For more information, including how to configure PageGate to use modem or IP-based tap, please visit our website, www.notepage.net.